Well, hello there, Rebel Rooster Modeling viewers. Rebel Rooster Modeling viewers, raise your standards, folks. You don't want to be a fan of a guy like me. Anyway, hey, it's the, I think it's the 16th day of October here in Hell's Armpit. A nice, cool 93 degrees right now, which doesn't sound great, but man, after 6 months straight of 110 plus, this feels nice. Anyway, just doing my last kit of my practice up before I go back to building seriously, because I've been idle for like, what, 5-6 months. So I decided to pick up this little old hidden gem, or maybe not a gem, let's call it a shiny rock. This very old Tamiya J2M Raiden, or Jack. You know, I forgot how pretty darn okay this little model really is. It's got some things that drive people crazy, like, unless my eyes are lying to me, which is entirely possible. It has some raised panel lines. Not a whole lot of detail, but it's got good bones. And the fit's actually, for a very old kit that, you know, is pretty darn old, is really pretty darn good. So let's take a look at this thing and see how it's going.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
No need to be rude. I'll show you what's in the box. Gee, you don't have to yell about it. But anyway, it's a nice looking box. Here it's got some nice artwork on it. It's got the old style Tamiya lettering on it. And it's very simple. You open it up and you're gonna have an instruction sheet. And looking at the instructions, sometimes you'll get them printed in Japanese, sometimes you'll get them printed in English, sometimes you get both. But depending where you get it, this is all there is. 7 pieces to the cockpit, close it up, wings, horizontal stabs, cowl, fuel tank, landing gear, propeller, canopy, and you are done. And as expected, this comes on a very simple set of screws. You got 2 screws and the wings and a nice little painting guide that comes with it, or a picture. You can almost frame this. This actually looks pretty cool. You could frame this and make it put near your model behind it or something, but that's what you get. That's what's in the box. That's what all the fuss was about there, from that movie. For those of you wondering where I got that, that's from the movie 7 with Brad Pitt. Funny story here. Back when I was courting my wife, it was our 3rd date. I took her to see that movie, 7, not knowing that she did not like horror movies. And my first 2 dates were kind of flops too. So after the 3rd one, I called her up later, asked her for a 4th date, and she said, well, she dumped me. And, but man, I really liked her. So I pursued her. I guess they call it stalking now. But anyway, for 9 months, kept after her. And eventually, on Valentine's Day, now this is just one of those corny things that McCormick's do. On Valentine's Day, I snuck over to her house. She was still living with her parents at the time, and I planted a rose bush back there with this note about, you know, I didn't want to just get you flowers that will wilt and die in a week, so I'm planting this rose bush, which will bloom forever, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that broke it, and she decided she agreed to go out with me again, and we did it a while, got engaged, and here we are just a few days ago, had our 27th year of marriage, and I could not be happier, and I sure hope she feels the same. Apparently she does, because she's still with me. But anyway, I digress, or progress, depending on the point of view. But anyway, here it is. On the title, I think I put sub-assemblies or main construction, but and you see pretty much a whole airplane here, but that's really all there is to it. This is a very simple kit. Great kit for beginners. If you're new to modeling, these old Tamiya kits are really great. The cement I already told you about. The putty, it didn't take much putty, because what I do is when I put these together, again, that cement dries so quick and it's so aggressive and gets in there. I hold the parts together, I brush the cement and I squeeze real hard, and it makes little bubbles of plastic right along the seam line. Now I don't need putty because the plastic has filled it in. I just take out my sanding sticks, and I use these little infinity cheap sticks. I got more darn different types of sanding stuff, but for this purpose, that's what I use them for. And I dry sanded those, and they made really nice, they closed up the seams really nicely. You can see, hopefully you can see, that they did a really good filling job on there. The fit on the horizontal stabilizers, nothing had to be done, and they So as best I can see, I hope this is, move these lights for you. Maybe that'll focus it better. I hope you can see that, but these horizontal stabilizers are fitting beautifully. The wings fit pretty darn well too. There was a little bit of a gap there, or not a gap, a step, and I used some putty. I decided to try this one out, this Meg Ammo arming putty. I don't know what they're arming, but there it is. I usually will use either the Squadron Gray for basic rough ends, and for wings I like to use this Testers, the old school stuff. But what's nice about these two is you can you can soften them up and smooth them out with rubbing alcohol. And that's what I did basically. And the thing with this Meg Ammo putty here is, even though it dries smoother than the old Testers, it chunks out more. And so what happens is you can see it's got a little bit of some chunking in there, which I'm not decided if I'm going to make those dense and look like they got kicked and dented up from being walked on, or maybe some oil canning where the fillet is, or even just finish filling them and smoothing them out. I don't know yet. So we'll see. And something else I did just for giggles, and I don't know if it's going to show up on here, is I took this knife here. I don't know which blade number this is, but it looks kind of like a, I don't know, like I guess you can call it a shark fin. And I scraped out a little bit of some, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, but you might be able to if I could like to hit it right here, and another one right there, another back here, to where some coral or something might have got hit up, because this thing had that little tiny tail wheel and the legs were a little tall, so the propeller would throw stuff up underneath it. So I tried to emulate that a little bit, and I don't know, I might have smoothed them out too much where they won't show up, but we'll see. But just something I tried out. Now the cockpit, like I showed you on the instructions, it's a pretty basic cockpit. It's only 7 pieces. And let me move the camera here because I'm going to need light. And I'm going to make you seasick here. But remember, I am a professional amateur. So, of course, I made the tape seat belts, which everybody knows how to do already. Dry brushed the side panels pretty well, you know. It's probably not going to show up very much on the because of the lighting in here and the lack of focusing that this thing's doing. Let me try to zoom it in a little bit here. There we go. Now you might be able to see a little better the dry brushing on the side panels there. It's hard to tell because these lights are super intense. They're those daylight LEDs. They show up everything. Tape seat belts. And then I also had a decal, instrument decal for this thing, which I didn't use because I have 2 of these. Okay, it's been only 1 decal sheet. So I didn't want to use decal sheet. And I decided to cut out my own instruments, which you can see in here, which, you know, from back here, they look pretty decent. They're okay. And I usually use plastic card for that. And I get a leather punch like this, and it's got these little different types of screw tips, and they're hollow here, you know, you can see through there. And close your eyes for just about a second. I'm going to move the camera again. And so I decided, let's try these out of tape, just for the heck of it. I don't know what inspired me to do that, but I got 2 pieces of Tamiya tape to double them up from ripping too easily when I lift them, and I pushed and twisted the leather punch, which gave me a nice little round instrument, which you can see right here. Where are you, pointing pencil? There we are, right here. And what I did was I moved that from here to the larger piece of tape, which, as I get this up, you'll see it. Sorry, I'm making you seasick again. Anyway, I transferred them to a bigger piece of tape. And then what I did was I painted them first with some Tamiya lacquer LP38 racing white. It's not a pure white. It's kind of a, it does a good job of showing faded dials on old instruments. So I put that on there. And I thinned it with Mr. Leveling Thinner because I wanted this to be tough and attach itself to the tape pretty well. And then I took some Tamiya X1 gloss black, and I thinned that with rubbing alcohol and painted over that racing white. I then got the knife, and let me move this again, yet again. And then what I did, there we are, and I'll zoom in a little more. And I got either the back, not this knife, the other one, the regular X-Acto. And then I got either the back side or the sideways, depending on how thick I wanted the cuts to be, or the scrapes to be. And I scraped in little detail. And then after that, I took some good old all-clad aqua gloss. Gosh, that silver label really makes this hard to read, but you can see it right there, aqua gloss. And then I just put a drop on each instrument, and then I took them to the airplane and put them on the panel. And they turned out fair. I mean, when you get up close, you can see it's just gibberish, but I like the faded white on it, and they stick out a little bit, but they're not as thick as the plastic card. So maybe that's why I went with the tape. I don't know. I really don't remember. But anyway, that's what I did with the cockpit. The canopy, it's a one-piece canopy, unfortunately, and my razor saws are a bit thick to go cutting it. So it's going to be one of the very few times you're going to see me make a closed canopy. And I never really liked the way that this antenna assembly, which is the gray part, gray and green, it goes up into this little slot right here. And I never really liked the way it sat, because when you put the canopy on, if you put this in first, let me tilt the camera again, close your eyes. Okay, open them again. What ends up happening is when you put this in first, like the instructions say, and then you put the canopy on later, you end up having this antenna assembly lower than the slot that's here, okay, in the canopy. And then you have to build it up or it just looks terrible. So what I decided to do is I took some of this Sarbon Black CA glue with the pulverized rubber in it. And I like this better than regular CA because you can let it dry as long as it wants. It'll still stand smooth without gumming up your abrasives. It dries a little slower, so you got more time to work with it. And it does work with Kicker if you decide to do that. But I can see where it is also. So there's a lot of reasons I like to use that better. And so I attached it to the canopy. Now the front of this canopy right here, you can see is round. This is a slot. There's a pane here and a pane here, and then there's this empty slot, and this goes in there. But the slot is rounded and the antenna is squared off, so you're gonna have to cut the corners and get it in there. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna shorten it just a hair. So you're gonna have this little tiny gap. You can see it right there in the very back. Little tiny gap, which when you put it on, it's gonna stick out. Okay, you can, I don't know if you can see it, but it's there, you can see it. And I'll fill that when I put it on. And because it's a one piece, this is one of the very few times I'm going to be doing this, but I'm going to have to put the canopy on and then paint. And it's going to be closed, where it's usually open. But anyway, look at that big hairy hand. It's the only place that hair grows on me anymore, so I just leave it be. Now, this end tucks up against the back of the seat here, see? And pushes it forward ever so slightly. So it's going to be a little tricky, but it's not too hard. I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to push the seat a little forward while I put this canopy on. There we are. And then it's on, and you can see the little gap I'm talking about right there. But what you can also see, and I'm pushing down really hard so it might flare out a little bit, but you can see that canopy fit is very good. I'm going to have to do so little sanding to make that fit. And even the front fits very nice, practically flush. So I'm not even going to have to sand out a bevel in here to make this fit flush against the canopy because it's already like that. Which for an old kid, I mean, I'm surprised that they did that. But then again, it's Tamiya. What do you expect, right? And that's pretty much it. So let me zoom back out. Oh, and of course you can see I might have already shown you this. I reshot this like 4 times. So forgive me if I've already told you this, but you can see in the wing fillet where there's just a little bit of chunking and rough out. And I might, like I said, I might make that kick damage or oil canning or something to, you know, cover it. Because I've filled these enough times where I don't need to practice. I know exactly what I'm doing with those. I'm just feeling lazy with this kit. So I might do that, just chip that, make it look like kick damage or oil canning and paint it normal. I don't know, but or I might just fill it. Who knows? Who cares? But anyway, that's where it is right now. So there you have it, boys and girls. Basics on a very basic model. Not a bad little thing. I've got more of these darn old Tamiya kits. I got their old roof, their A6M30, the old A6M50, the T84 Frank. I got another one of these. I get these things for like $5, sometimes even cheaper. You can go to these model kit swap meets, these trade shows and stuff, and you got these old couples. You know, you got this 100-and-dirt-year-old man. He's got his wife sitting there with him, and they got all these models everywhere, and they're like, Fred, I need you to sell these models. You got too many models. You know, they're old, man. They're older, and they've got one foot in the grave and the other on the banana peel. So, she don't want to have 200, 300, 400 models after the guy dies and not know what to do with them. So they're at the trade show, and he's going, they just want to sell them. Hey, Fred, you guys sell these models? Okay, Mildred. And, you get them really cheap. And pro tip, don't do it at shows I'm at with you, but pro tip, let's say the show goes from 8 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right? The stuff I'm definitely looking for, and it's usually like tools and building supplies, I go right to and I get the must-haves done. And I just walk around and poke at models, maybe drive-by walk each one, pull something I might be interested in, look at it, look at the price, stand there, make a few faces like, and then put it back. Do that a couple times. They're going to remember you when you come back. Come back at about 12 when it's getting ready. There's an hour left and they got all this crap left and they want to get rid of it. That's when they're more willing to deal with you. And to you sellers out there, I'm sorry I gave away the secret, but everybody help each other, right? Anyway, so what's left is just gear canopy, propellers, and that's about it. So I'll do those on the side. There's really nothing to them, but when I bring it to paint, I'll probably do a little one on paint and show it when it's done. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. As always, happy modeling, God bless, and I will see you next time. Adios, amigos. That's Spanish for amigos, which is Spanish for el friendo. See ya. Clicky. I think it's time to change my battery. Hey, look, my thumb.